Hello and happy Tuesday. Last week on the podcast, I talked about things to leave behind in 2022. And this week, I'm going to talk about 6 tips on getting started and sticking to your 2023 health and fitness goals. So last week's approach was a little bit different. And this week, I thought it was still important to share the things that I feel like have really helped people with sustainability, with continuing their health and fitness goals. Like no matter if you're just starting your journey or you've been like, quote, start, stop, whatever it is. Like, I feel like these 6 things are key to continuing, to not quitting, to sticking to the goals that you have. And this is based off of my 6+ years of experience working with a lot of clients in a gym setting and the online space. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Tip number 1, I talk about this all the time. Start small and don't try to change all the things at once. You are doing yourself a major disservice if you try to change everything at once. And if you have the goal of doing this new workout program, this many days a week, and then trying to meal prep, and then trying to doing all the things at once. Starting anything new can be overwhelming. It can be daunting, let alone trying to change multiple things at once. That's a lot in itself. Starting small simplifies the process, and it will help you to create small wins to generate momentum. I'm going to say that again. Starting small simplifies the process and will help you to create small wins to generate momentum to keep you going. Choose one habit to work on first. So for example, it could be drinking more water. It could be the habit of just going to the gym. Maybe your goal is to start off 1 time a week. Maybe it's 2 times a week. It could be eating more protein. It could be incorporating more vegetables, or maybe it's focusing on sleep quality and the amount of sleep that you're getting. Maybe it is reducing stress. So choose one area of your life within your wellness that you're wanting to change and focus on that one thing. And then with that, I want you to make sure that when you choose that habit, that one thing you're going to work on, make a list of the things that you're going to do that will help you to improve that. So what are the action steps? What are the things that you're going to take action on, things that you're going to actually do day to day to help you improve that water? So for example, if your goal is drinking more water, well, ask the question to yourself, how am I going to drink more water each day? Maybe it is having a water bottle with you at all times. Maybe it's having a glass next to that coffee machine in the morning, so that when you go downstairs or you go to your kitchen and you see that coffee machine, you then see that glass and that's your cue to drink some water. Maybe it's by your bed. You have a glass of water or your water bottle right there. So just making sure that you ask the question of how are you going to do X? Number 2, set realistic or even under realistic goals. Of course, it's good to have big goals, right? That's totally fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have big goals, but when you have unrealistic goals in a short amount of time, more specifically, they can be unattainable and only set you up for discouragement. So I want you to set yourself up for success by setting goals that you know you for sure can reach and then keep building from there. So a couple examples, you could ask the question of, okay, so if you're wanting to go to the gym for workouts, let's say, first off, look at how much you're doing now. Has it been 1 a week, 2 a week? Has it been none at all? So instead of saying, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week, that's my goal, that's something that is good to work towards. And a lot of times we're saying that in a state of being highly motivated. And we're not always motivated, right? So instead of saying, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week, next example here, ask the question to yourself, can I do this for the rest of my life starting today? And if you question those 5 days a week, do less, go less. So then maybe it's 2 or 3 days. Again, ask yourself that question. And then here's where setting the under realistic goals comes into play. Let's say you actually just start with 1 day a week. Like your goal is to work out 1 day a week. Once you hit that one day, it feels good, right? Like you did your one day. It's an accomplishment. Hell yeah. And then let's just say, you know what? The next day or the day after, you work out again. That's 2 days. You not only hit your goal, but you exceeded your goal. And that feels even better. So you're setting yourself up for success and momentum and to just continue on instead of, if I too often have seen people set the goal of 5 days a week and then they don't work out at all, or it's 0 days and then they get discouraged and they feel down and they just ultimately end up quitting on themselves. So don't let that be you. Number 3, use the add more mentality. So notice in the beginning, I said a lot of the more. So more vegetables, more protein, more water, more sleep, etc. Instead of doing less of something or taking something away, try doing more of something. So for example, don't try to eat less of something or restrict something like cookies or like chips or whatever that thing is that you want to eat less of, but you're not going to say you're going to eat less of that. So don't try to eat less of something, rather try to eat more of something that is more beneficial. What this does is it eliminates the restrictive mindset and it gets rid of any guilt or shame that could be attached to food. So when you say you're going to eat more of protein, first of all, protein is a lot more satiating and filling, and it is a lot more nourishing, has more nutrients in it, more nutrient dense. So when you have more protein, you may likely already naturally eat less of the chips or whatever food it is that you're trying to, or that you maybe want to eat less of. Another example is I've had multiple clients who we set the goal of drinking more water, and they drink a lot of pop, and that's something that they want to quit. Well, I don't have the goal of how many days per week they're going to have pop or how many days per week they're going to not have pop. I don't set the goal based around that. I set the goal based around drinking more water. And 99, even probably 100% of the time, ultimately, people will naturally drink less pop because they're just drinking more water. And not only that, but when they go back to drinking pop, they actually don't like the taste. It makes them feel icky. It feels weird on their teeth. And then ultimately they just stop drinking pop. And so it's more of a natural balance, more of a natural way of getting to that goal of taking away pop, not eating pop, but you're not being restrictive with it. Okay, so that was the use the add more mentality. Number 4, expect the setbacks. We have to get in the mindset that setbacks are going to happen, and quote, falling off track will 100% happen eventually. It just is. But realize that those are a part of the journey and it's normal. It's normal to have setbacks. It's normal to fall off track. Like that just is a part of this journey. So when we can expect the setbacks on the front end, then when it happens, it's not a shock and it's not as discouraging. It's not as disheartening. You can say, okay, I've had this setback. What's my next step? What can I do now to just get back on pace? And then when you see it that way, it is a lot more sustainable and it is a lot easier to continue and to not feel like you are going backwards or to get discouraged. Number 5, find other ways to measure progress other than the scale. If your goal is weight loss or fat loss, I know that you want to see that number go down overall eventually. I get it. However, that number will fluctuate anywhere from legit 1 to 8 pounds day to day, depending. And if you're a female, you have your cycle, and that's going to play a major role in every single month. Around that time, you will gain some weight. And this is just using the scale. It is not the most accurate or sustainable or positive way to measure progress. And also keep in mind that just because that number goes up, it does not mean that it is body fat. So for example, when you're on your cycle and your body weight goes up, doesn't mean that's body fat. Or let's say you eat more salt or more inflammatory foods or whatever it is that you normally don't have, that weight, that scale weight might go up that next day or even the day after. But that's not body fat. You don't just gain body fat just like that overnight. You can also ask yourself or just kind of take note. How are your clothes feeling? How is your energy? How is your mood shifting? Are you sleeping better? Is your skin clearing up? Are you making healthier food choices? Have you improved in your workouts in any way? Has your posture improved? Are you feeling stronger? Is your relationship with food better? Like, these are all also ways to measure progress that are non-scale, but they will lead to the bigger weight loss, fat loss goals that you have and the results that you truly want. Like, that's kind of just like a byproduct. It'll eventually happen. But when we focus on just the scale, if you step on it and no matter what, you feel discouragement, defeat, like what's the use? There is no use. There is no use in just making yourself feel that way constantly all the time. So I'd encourage you, if you feel that way, no matter what, then get rid of that scale. And just, even if it's for a few months, in my case, it was a whole year that I went without stepping on any type of scale, even one that showed muscle versus body fat, didn't step on it because of, no matter what, I had pressure to change my body fat, to gain muscle. Like, it put pressure on me and it didn't make me feel good. So I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to focus on that. And it allowed me to focus on other things. It allowed me to focus on my relationship with food and how I speak and spoke about my body. So just please keep that in mind. Find other ways to measure progress other than the scale. And number 6, get accountability. Whether it's a friend, a family member, a spouse, a coach, a gym, a personal trainer, an online group and community, like whatever it is, just get yourself some sort of accountability. We are a lot more likely to let ourselves down and give up on ourselves versus letting others down and giving up on other people. Accountability is a bridge to success, and it can be the difference between staying consistent and continuing these goals in 2023 or giving in to quitting and just stopping altogether and continuing that cycle of starting and stopping, starting and stopping. So accountability is key for this. So just to recap, the 6 steps on getting started and sticking to your 2023 health and fitness goals. Number 1, start small and don't try to change all the things at once. Number 2, set realistic or even under-realistic goals. I know I use the example of working out, but you can use this with anything and everything within your goals. Number 3, use the add more mentality. Number 4, expect the setbacks. Number 5, find other ways to measure progress other than the scale. And number 6, get accountability. All right, that's that. I hope this helped you in some way to help you stick with your 2023 health and fitness goals. And please let me know if this was something that you resonated with, that helped you in any way. You can find me on Instagram at Sophia_Dawn41. That's SOPHIA_DAWN41. I'm also on Facebook, and I will link those in the show notes, as well as my free Facebook group community, Food Freedom and Muscle Building Solutions, where I'm really focusing on helping people to improve their relationship with food, to end the restrict binge cycle, to end the yo-yo dieting, and ultimately have and keep results, and to have the results in this lifestyle be sustainable. Whether your goal is fat loss, getting stronger, overall health, and longevity. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And I appreciate you as always. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, week, weekend. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Flow with the Grow. I'll see you next week for your daily dose of positivity and growth.